Yo, what's going on YouTube? Thanks for stopping by today. We've got another awesome episode on What's New Barbecue. Today's a huge collaboration with my boys from Texas and my boys from California. It's a fun challenge or call out or shots fired type collaboration, but it's all in good fun. But if you can believe it, it's actually a brisket challenge. The hashtag is actually hashtag brisket challenge. And some boys from Texas and myself and some boys from California, we're going to go head to head to see who's got the brisket game on lock. And we appreciate you for stopping by to check it out. Everybody's information will be down below in the description box that I can get my hands on, guys. But make sure you search hashtag brisket challenge. And I got one more thing to say to California. Don't mess with Texas. And can you smell what Texas is smoking? Before we get started on this brisket, I wanted to talk about how to pick a good brisket, at least the best one you can while you're at the store. I got this at Kroger. It is a certified Angus beef brisket. So this is your run-of-the-mill brisket. But what I look for when I'm looking for briskets at the grocery store is overall appearance, the shape, the form of it. Am I going to have to do a whole lot to the sides or the front and the end of it to make it uniform? I'm looking for excessive fat. You know, this decal right here, it's got a good amount of fat to it, but it's not the hardest fat, so I know this is just going to come right off, which you have to do that in almost every brisket is take the decal off. It just might be a little smaller or a little bigger. It's got a good size flat, so that's good. It means it's going to hold up, not dry out too much on us, hopefully. It's got some decent marbling going through it, and it's got an awesome size point, so we've got a lot of good brisket to work with. On the side here, I will shave that off just to clean it up a bit, and our fat cap is not too excessive either. We might shave that off just a little bit as well, but again, I'm not going to have to do a whole lot to this to make it uniform and aerodynamic, which is really what I'm looking for when I'm picking a brisket out at the store. So I'm going to get this out of the package and then we'll get to trimming it. Alright, so let's get this brisket trimmed up. First and foremost, it starts to have a really good open space area to trim on. Shout out to John Phillips for this Texas board here. This is actually called the Texas Tigo Bitty. I will have his information down below in the description box. But this is awesome. And we're going to go ahead and trim this bad boy up. And I got a sharp knife, that's important too. It's a Kuma knife. I'll have that information down below as well. Like I was saying, this decal's got to go right off the bat. So we're just going to work our knife underneath as much as we can. And you don't have to go quickly with this. You'll get better at it as you continue to trim them up. You just work your way right down that fat cap right there, that decal I should say. And you can just make little incisions just like this and it'll pull away. Just like that. Set this aside. You can use that for grounding up some fat and some beef and making your own burgers or sausage. So just do the same thing, work your way up underneath there. Being careful, trying to save as much meat as you can, so we're not in any rush here, guys. I'm a firm believer in prepping your brisket so it can have the best ability to cook how it should. So let's get this right here. That's a good little piece of fat there. Like I said, this decal is common on almost every single brisket you're going to come along. So I'm just going to make an incision right here, basically a line down here because we're running to the end of it and I don't want to get my meat, just so I can have something to grab onto. Just like that. And you shouldn't let a brisket trimming be something that scares you. The more you do it, the better you'll be at it. Now we have all these little silver skins. I could be here all day trimming this up, but I don't get too crazy with it. This does have a little bit of excessive silver skin, so same thing, just follow right underneath it. Sometimes you might take a little of that top meat off, but that's alright. Once you get your rub on, it's gonna all work out still. So just follow that fat. And that's gonna work its way right into the crevice, back to that decal. Just like that right there. So we almost took this entire decal out. This fat right here is soft. It's gonna render It's got some good marbling in this brisket here. We're gonna take some of this silver skin off again. Keep removing that. Just anything that doesn't look appealing. You could skip this part of the process if you want. Sometimes I do, but if it's got excessive silver skin on here, I try and get some of it off. But I'm gonna go ahead and finish getting this silver skin off, and then I'll catch back up with y'all when we're trimming up the fat cap. I was looking, like I mentioned earlier, I'm gonna square some of this off. It's got some discoloration going on down the side here, so I'm just gonna clean that up a bit. We don't want that. You'd be okay to skip it, but again, this is a kind of personal preference, and it's going to help with my overall appearance of our brisket, so that's what we want. Just go in there, follow that fat down, cut it off. Try not to cut too much off because it's got good meat underneath it. There we go. Just like that. There we go. Now you can see straight down the side, no discoloration. I'm going to take this off right here. And this is where a good sharp knife comes in handy. Just work your way down, make you a path basically, and just keep following it. And it'll just release itself basically, just like that. So again, we're trying not to take too much, but get this flipped around for our fat cap now. And like I said, this is looking good for the most part. Got a little bit more discoloration here, so I'm gonna go ahead and clean that up. And save this stuff, guys. Save it, save it, save it. Freeze it, and next time you're making sausages, use it. Just because you trim it doesn't mean you gotta throw it away. So we're gonna clean this up again. This just goes back to aerodynamics and even cooking. This is just a lump, basically, and it's making our brisket not uniform. So we got a little bit of fat here that we can trim away. Just put your hand up underneath it right here where you're trimming at, and just slowly work your way down. Again, this isn't a race, guys. Just want to get the best product you can before you even put it on the smoker. This fat cap's not horrible though, so we're in luck there. Grab you a piece of that fat and just slowly work your way down it. And how you trim a brisket is gonna be the same essentially every time you trim a brisket, but each brisket has different fat caps and whatnot, so just kind of use this method and tweak it how you need to. But I think we're good here. I'm pretty happy with that. Let me go ahead and clean this board up, and we'll get this bad boy seasoned up for Texas Style Brisket. Alright, I got this cutting board cleaned off a little bit, got my brisket laid out. Like I said, guys, we took a decent amount out of this decal here. I went ahead and cut a little bit more out of this side here because I didn't see a nasty fat strip that was in there that we took care of. But here is our mix, and this is 60% of some ground black pepper and 40% Himalayan pink sea salt. So that's what we're working with. We're not going to use a binder. I'm going to mix this up. We're not going to use a binder for this. We're just going to use the regular brisket juices here. Mix it up good. There we go. And these coarse grinds are going to help with the bark, so you can have your hand up high right here, that way you can cover more space when you're seasoning. But don't be scared to put a good amount, because this is a big old brisket. Just like this, guys. This isn't entertaining though, so I'm going to go ahead and season this bad boy up, and when I get done, we'll go ahead and get out to the driveway and we will light up the chimney and get that going so we can light up Big Dog and get to smoking. Alright, so in order to get this chimney lit, we're going to take this ball of paper here and and put it up underneath the chimney here. We've got the charcoal all the way up to the top, filled to the top. And now we're just going to start it with our torch. There we go. And I have a balled up piece of paper, like I said, in there, and that'll do it. This will get going in about 10 or 15 minutes. And then we're going to add 3 big logs of hickory to it into the firebox on Big Dog. So I'll catch up with y'all when we're doing that. Alright, it's go time, guys. We've had this smoker heating up for about 45 minutes now, like we talked about. And I'm going to actually place the point towards the heat here, because it can take it. And we're just going to form our brisket up so we can get that nice uniform look. That's going to help with our slices there, just like that. That's going nice and hot. Smells awesome with that hickory wood. I'm going to shut this down and we'll check on this in 4 hours. Probably going to add a log about every hour. Alright, and like we said, we are 4 hours in. Let's take a peek at this brisket. Golly, it's smelling insane, I'll tell you that. Look at the color that it's starting to pick up. The seasoning's looking nice. Got good fire source in the firebox. We are going to go ahead and spritz this down with a little bit of water and apple cider vinegar. Literally about 90% water and 10% apple cider vinegar. Just like that, just to make sure that we stay nice and juicy throughout this cook. And I do want to go ahead and take an internal temperature reading. Let's see what we're looking like here. Now, I'm not expecting to be anywhere close to done, but let's see where we're at. Right under 150. Same right there, so right around 150. That's about where I expected to be. So everything's rolling along nicely. I'm going to go ahead and shut this down, and we'll check on this in another hour. It's actually been 2 hours later since we last checked on it, and it's time to see what the internal temperature is. We're literally still right around where we were the last time we checked on it. A little higher there on the point side. I am not happy with this bark yet, so I'm going to say we're going to shut this down, let this go for another hour, and then we'll see what we're looking like. Alright, y'all, we are right over 160 degrees internal on our brisket. Man, look at that. We want to go ahead and spritz it down a little bit. Just before we wrap it up. Make sure it's nice and snug. I'm going to go ahead and let that continue to cook until we get to an internal temperature of around 203 degrees or probe tender, and after it rests, we'll slice it up. Alright, and here we have our brisket after it's reached about 205 degrees internal. I'm going to go ahead and slice it right down the middle here where the point and the flat kind of meet. Oh man, that was tender. Let me get this opened up here for y'all. Man, yeah, that's going to be good. Let me set this aside. Extra juicy. Man. Turn this around here. That's looking good. Get us a couple slices out of this. Smells awesome. That salt, pepper, garlic mix. Ooh, still hot. been resting for about 2 hours now. Check out that smoke ring. It's extra tender. Get one more slice from the flat. There we go. Man, it's still hot. There we go. I'm gonna move this flat to the side. Look at that, guys. That is some juicy stuff. The bin test, looking good. Cut that off right there. There's our burn ends right there. Look at this bark. Let's go ahead and get us some slices from the point. Got us a great smoke ring. Can y'all see that? Looking good. I'm gonna get some thicker slices on the point here. Dang, that is looking awesome. Check that out. Completely juicy. All right, let's give this a taste. All right, after 10 hours of cooking, this brisket finally reached an internal temperature of 205 degrees, and it's been resting for about 2 hours now. Look at that smoke ring, completely tender, completely juicy. This is the point side of it. Let's give it a taste. This bark turned out perfect. Cheers, y'all. Wow. Wow. You taste that salt and pepper right off the bat. That bark's firm. That brisket's extra juicy, extra tender. I mean, check that out. I'm sorry. You can probably hear my dog eating his breakfast too, but it is 6:30 in the morning here and we're all hungry, so cheers, y'all. Man, that's really awesome. Now I've got a piece of the flat. Look at that smoke ring, still crazy juicy. Awesome bark, awesome color. Let's try the flat, y'all. Cheers. Wow. Just straight salt, pepper, beef, and that hickory smoke. This is awesome. Definitely a Texas style brisket. If you haven't tried it before, I highly suggest you do. Don't forget, this is a collaboration #brisket challenge. Make sure you check everybody else's out, both from Texas and California. I appreciate y'all for stopping by What's New Barbecue. Until next time, guys, y'all keep on barbecuing.